There we go. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the November 26, 2018 meeting of the Litchfield Board of Selectmen to order at 6 p.m. And I would ask all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by our young scout, Nathaniel.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Nathan. Can I ask everyone to stand, please, for a moment of silence? We've lost two esteemed members of the community, Officer Bob Bennett and John Bryant, who was the chair of the Recreation Commission. So I'd ask that we offer a moment of silence in their honor. Thank you. Okay, first item on the agenda is the review and approval of consent items, which include the meeting minutes of November 5th, 2018, accounts payable manifest of November 20th of $68,819.15 and November 27th of $47,863.15. We have a payroll manifest November 21st of $48,683.55 and November 29th of $50,857.43. We have October reconciliations for both the tax collector and the town clerk. We have an abatement on map 12, lot 79 for $185. And we have 5 land use change taxes. Are there any items that members would like to remove from the consent agenda? All right, hearing none, I'll accept a motion to approve.
so moved.
Moved by Mr. Brunel,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Weber. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries to approve 5-0-0. Okay, are there any other items that members would like added to the agenda for tonight? Hearing none, we'll just offer that public input will occur no earlier than 6:30. And we'll go on to the regular order of business. Inspector position status. Mr. Brown?
Okay. The first 2 items on the agenda, Chief Freitzel was going to be here to discuss with the board.
Okay.
So I'd like to hold off and see if we can go into elderly exemptions and.
Sure. Okay.
Chief,
Go right ahead.
So elderly exemptions, as you recall, a couple meetings ago, we had a resident come in, submitted a letter to the Board of Selectmen asking us to consider sponsoring a warrant article to increase the exemption amounts for our elderly exemptions. I asked my assistant to go to the DRA website and conduct the data for communities our size and our population range. And you'll see that we've highlighted Litchfield. And based on the findings that I have from this information, our numbers seem to be currently right in line with other communities. The only area that we're actually higher in is the asset limit. So for a single person, we allow those individuals to have assets in the amount of $300,000 or less. And to be qualified for an elderly exemption within the certain age groups, your house and the first acre of land is exempt from that calculation. So your house, first acre of land is not part of that $300,000 asset limit. And our married asset is the same. So I can't sit here this evening based on this information and recommend to the board that that we go ahead and support changing these limits. I think if the board agrees with me, then we could notify the individual that came in, and they'd be welcome to submit a petition article to be placed on the warrant.
So of all the town survey, we're the highest in asset assigned.
Mhm.
So that's pretty generous as it is.
Didn't we change that a few years? I'm trying
I
to
think
remember
I wasn't here, but I think the year prior to my arrival,
I think
this was
that's-
discussed at the annual town or a deliberative. And I do believe some adjustments were made.
I think the most impressive thing is the median's 90,000 for both single and married, and we're at 300.
Right.
So
We're way above the median.
yeah, out of the 20 towns we have in front of us, we are definitely way up there, which is good for the elderly.
Well, it's good for the elderly, yes. All right, any questions or comments from members? What are your wishes, members? Should we leave things as is?
Yeah.
I think so, and I think letting the petitioner know about it, even share this data with them.
Exactly. If
Because I
you
think
could share
that'll-
that.
I think that will really help them.
Yeah, I mean, understand where we're coming from because we are.
And can you point out the 300,000
Yeah,
were the
and-
highest?
And one of the things, usually in most towns, this is something that, usually like every 3 years, the town will take a look at this data. It's updated, I think, every other year on the state's website or annually. So usually the Board of Selectmen will always take a look at this about every 3 years and make sure we're still in line with comparable communities.
Okay.
So I will have that conversation with him and let him know that, we'll continue to monitor it, but he has all the rights in the world to submit a petition.
Okay. Thank you, Troy. Okay, review of the 2019 warrant articles. Mr. Brown.
Yes. So not this Thursday, but December the 6th, the Budget Committee will have a meeting, and they are going to be reviewing our warrant articles. So I wanted to go through these one more time with you. And I don't think at this point in time you can vote on the operating budget, but I'd like to have, if the board's ready, to vote on some of the articles that we can vote on this evening. So the 2019 Article 4, the operating budget, the reason you're not able to vote on this is because the Budget Committee really hasn't established what that number would be. Okay. Police contract, we'll be discussing later this evening. We have a tentative agreement, we believe, and I have some costing numbers I can share with you, but we're not, until the union has met and has agreed, we do not have an agreement in place. So premature to take any action on Article 5. The Human Services and Health Agencies, these are the numbers that were submitted to us. I pointed out to the board before that the Anne Marie House, they never actually asked for a specific amount. I think they were looking for the Board of Selectmen to offer a donation. And the last time we discussed this, I think it was the board's wishes to have this go to deliberative session and have, members of the community stand up and ask to amend the article and place a number or decrease numbers for these different agencies.
Gentlemen, Article 6.
So that we can amend this later.
Yeah.
The public,
yeah.
the public can
Deliberative
ask them.
session,
All right.
yeah.
I mean, we have 10 agencies looking for money, and
Right.
that's the most I've seen. So you want to just vote on
Well,
it?
what we need to do is vote on recommendation now and then at that deliberative session, with public comment, amend then if you want. We would vote to recommend or not recommend.
So I make a motion and we vote to recommend and forward it to the Budget Committee.
Motion to recommend Article 6 by Mr. Brunel. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Schaefer. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 500 to recommend Article 6. Article 7, Mr. Brown.
Article 7 is the Earned Time Accrual Expendable Trust Fund, recommending that we raise and appropriate $50,000. This amount to come from the unassigned fund balance. It would have no estimated tax impact for year 2019.
Gentlemen, your wishes?
I make a motion, we recommend Article 7 and forward to the Budget Committee.
Moved by Mr. Brunel. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Schaefer. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 500 to recommend Article 7. Article 8, Technology and Communication Expendable Trust Fund.
Okay, and this would be a new article, creating a new expendable trust fund specifically for technology and communication hardware and software. This would be for the purchase and replacement of equipment. Again, this $50,000 would come from the unassigned fund balance. It would have no tax impact for tax year 2019.
Okay, I know we talked about this before.
This is a very,
It's just
this is a
making it-
very small step.
And it's a very small step in the right
But
direction.
I thought it'd be good just to get the fund established. It gives us a little bit of emergency contingency, but in no ways does it address maybe what our future needs are in the upcoming couple years.
Yeah, there's a lot of demands on both sides. Communications is really a challenge, and then technologies and the life cycle refresh.
Is this going to be for police, fire, and so
All communications and all technology. Not, well, yeah.
because everybody's been pulling out of their own budgets for this stuff.
No, technology's been consolidated, but communications has not. So,
Okay.
and that's one of the things we're trying to do is to come up with a town-wide communications plan, and then have this be part of the funding mechanism as we need. But more importantly, we have seven-year investment in technology that is also it's time to replace too, and we have to start somewhere. So
Because we're pretty
In
outdated.
no way was I,
We're outdated right now.
we're at 7
Oh,
years.
yeah.
yeah, and I think in the fire department chief, I can't remember, but you're carrying, what are you carrying, 20, 30,000 for radio equipment? And your plan is to keep that in the budget for the next several years. This article is not intended to replace that.
That's already, the program is already in place, right?
I'll accept a motion, John.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Brunel,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Weber to recommend Article 8. Discussion. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 500 to recommend Article 8. Article 9, land purchase, Mr. Brown.
Okay, and this is for the property located or described on the tax map as map 30, lot 1 on Hillcrest Road. This is the purpose of purchasing this is to help address the safety concern for site distance as people and employees and contractors are entering and exiting the recycling highway facility. $90,000 is the agreed purchase price. It was suggested to me that the board may want to consider adding some additional money to this article to actually do some of the tree removal work and some of the I envisioned us removing some of the soil and, just to make a gentle slope to increase that site distance. And was thinking that we might want to ask, $100,000 for this article to come from the unassigned fund, to give you a $10,000 allowance for tree removal and some site work.
I just have a quick question on that. That's the Hillcrest is state road, right?
It's a
Well, state
road.
maintained.
Maintain
Summer
in
only.
summer, we maintain winter. Kind of a mixed.
It's an agreement we have because the state forest is
Yeah. My only thing is with the state being involved in that, is there any process that we need to go through when it comes to, you're talking about sloping, right? So now you're talking drainage, so that would be my question.
You'd have to work with the state, but I think that it can be done in such a way that there's the removal of the trees and providing some slope would tie into the drainage system that's there now.
Well, I just remember when Renee up in the
Mhm.
north end, he wanted that warehouse, and there was this big thing about the runoff coming off the roof and stuff like that
Yeah,
because it was going in, underneath 3A.
right.
So that's why I asked the question.
Do you think
Yeah,
it's wise, Troy, just to put the purchase price on it this year? And since we don't know what other costs would be incurred,
There could be a lot of, there could be a lot of questions in
Right.
permitting and engineering that's involved in.
Whereas
and trying
this
to
is a
correct
clear cut,
Not
easy
the
to
cost of it.
explain.
We can always remove
Right.
trees for safety
Right.
reasons. And so I wouldn't have a problem just leaving it straightforward. I will let you know that John Pinciero and myself were at a meeting at the National Regional Planning Commission several weeks ago and discussing our road needs and what the Regional Planning Commission can do to help us. This issue came up, and they mentioned that there's a possibility if the town were able to acquire this land, that there's some funds available where we could tap into state funds, which are trickling down from the federal government, to address safety concerns, and we could realign that road, that section. They referred to it as very similar to the Pinecrest 3A intersection.
right?
Same type of funds where the town would contribute 20% of the cost and the state would kick in 80. And there's the possibility that because we own the land at that point in time, that our 20% match could be the donation of the right of way or easement. Again, very competitive process to get those funds, but if you acquire the land, there is that possibility that you could start that discussion with the state.
Yeah, I'm comfortable myself.
Yeah.
Leaving the 90 there and as a clear cut request.
Yeah, it's black
Okay.
and white. I agree.
Gentlemen,
So I'll make a motion to approve Article 9.
moved by Mr. Bork,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Brunel to recommend Article 9, the land purchase. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstain? Motion carries 5-0-0. Town flag, Article 10.
And that won't be a cost item. So the budget committee.
Can we word that different, a little different?
I don't know. I mean, that's as a placeholder. I got to work
Okay.
with Laura on that and
All right.
see exactly how that's going to be addressed. I'm not
Right.
sure how it's going to be addressed.
Because there will be a recommendation, right?
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know the process. I don't know if it's really the Board of Selectmen's authority to
Yeah.
adopt the town flag with citizens
Matt did a
input.
beautiful job on both versions of it.
Or do we literally have a picture of this, JPEG
Right.
file and a picture of the flag, say, do you support?
Right.
This is your flag, but I don't think we can get into a multiple choice
Right.
of pictures.
All right, well, that's,
I don't
well,
know.
you're
I guess
gonna,
you could.
you're gonna
Yeah.
research it, right? So we'll come back to that. This isn't a budget committee item anyway,
It's
so,
not.
nor is Article 11. Keno, to see if the town will vote to allow the operation of Keno within the
Yeah.
town pursuant to the provisions of New Hampshire RSA 284:41 through 51.
So you could vote on that one.
Yep.
That is the way the article will be written.
Right, and then, this has been requested.
Right.
By several,
And we thought we were committed to backing it up.
we said that we would for the
Yeah.
town.
So I'll make a motion on Article 11.
Okay, moved by Mr. Bork.
Second.
Second, and multiple seconds, Mr. Brunel. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstained? Motion carries 5-0-0. Article 11 is recommended. Article 12, we don't know anything about, if there are any articles, so. That's all we have to do tonight on that. Okay, anything else on warrants, Mr. Brown?
Not at this time.
Okay. Chief, welcome. Come on up. You have 2 items.
Two items,
Two
yes.
items.
I don't remember which was first, so.
You have inspector positions listed first.
So just an update, MRI has been in, done all their interviews, so forth. I had a conversation with the consultant a week or so ago, as well as a phone conversation with Mr. Gould, the president of MRI. And while the report's not finalized yet, they're comfortable and recommend that we move forward with filling the position because of the time it's going to take. They're estimating could be 60 to 90 to 120 days. So given, the current market as they see it, and this kind of was promulgated by, we had looked to them for a contract inspector earlier in the year. They had an inspector just become available 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And it was kind of one of those, all right, before we move down that road, do we really need to make a decision on, are we close enough to start filling rather than get a contract inspector for a period of a month or two before we hire our own? So they recommend we move forward. So I don't know that I necessarily need approval from the board. More it's a fear awareness and that, it is something we're doing based on the feedback.
And just to
from
be
them.
clear for the folks at home, we do have inspection services. Right
Yes,
now
we have a part-time
on a part-time
inspector.
basis. So it's
So
not that we do not have any services at this point.
that was item one. Item two is the utility vehicle, which was originally the forestry. We had converted over to the utility truck, the 2003 Ford F-350. Has been struggling the last year or two. We're at a point where we have, and Troy and I have talked about this for probably a year or two. We've got money in our detail fund that could be used to offset the cost of replacing this because this is the primary vehicle assigned to details, be it Nightmare New England or other details. So looking to basically start the process to replace the vehicle utilizing that detail funding and then either unexpended, I don't want to get it wrong, unexpended fund balance.
Well, what we'd be
surplus.
looking at is at the end of this year, we'd be looking to encumber funds or expend, surplus.
Sure, thank you.
We'd overexpend a line somewhere in the budget.
But we're already tapping into a lot of our end of the year funds to deal with other challenges.
We've got, I know that you have some issues. The police
involves you too,
department has a
Chief. Come on.
request. And, but at this point in time, I think we're looking at trying to line things up, get our prices solid,
Mhm.
introducing it to the board so that as we get closer to year end, when I come and give a report,
We can figure it out.
we can try to figure it out if we can do anything at all.
I just had a quick, so you looking for new?
Yeah, we'd replace it with a new pickup
With it-
truck. It'd be a
brand-
conventional
brand
pickup
new.
truck.
Yeah.
That's what we're looking at. I mean, we hadn't looked at used, just, looking for something to last for a while.
If you look at the life of that, I mean, you got some good life out of that, right? So,
I mean,
What year is that?
2003.
yeah, I couldn't
It
remember
is.
for the life of me. Yeah.
Okay.
So you bought it.
That wasn't
you
your
bought it
time?
brand new.
No,
that
I
was
got
a
out
long
in
time
20.
ago,
They bought it right after I got
I
out.
believe it was purchased brand new.
That was bought.
As a forestry, it had a skid unit in it. The
Yeah.
bed rusted off it. 4 or 5 years ago, we put a rack body bed on it.
Wow,
With
2003 already.
with
Yeah, it's
the
been around a long time.
skid unit on it and ran into some overweight issues, which prompted us to buy the used F4 550 chassis to convert into the forestry. We've been using this as a utility with the plow. The plow has been patched twice and has some pretty good holes in it. So I don't expect that the plow is going to really go beyond this winter because it depends on how bad a winter it is. It's the Ford 6.0 motor, which the oil pan we've been patching for better than a year now. And that particular truck, you got to pull the motor to replace the oil pan. So we're getting to that point that we really want to.
And that was the truck that was enlisted to help the road agent last year.
Yes, that truck plowed for 10 or 12 hours the other day without issue. I mean, it's running good, but we're getting to the point where we're going to, encounter a significant cost for repairs. And do we really want to put that in? We have the funds in the detail, which we're limited to what we can use. So this would be, and then looking long range, we are going to be looking at larger fire apparatus in the coming years. So just trying to plug away at, needs as we can, and to the extent we can, be creative in how we fund them.
So Troy, is it 24,000? That's the current limit? Because isn't there still money coming in from Nightmare, or is that all in?
That's all in.
Okay, so that's everything.
So,
all
and
in.
that's all in, and it's not, nothing's due to the general fund. Everything's been paid for all the detail work.
So 14 grand short.
Essentially.
Yeah, okay.
And I think it's important to note too, that, for anyone just listening, it's not just, because I asked the chief about just replacing the oil pan and lifting the engine. If you're gonna go through all that expense, if you lift that engine, then you should be addressing all the preventative maintenance issues.
Well, as soon as you
Rear
just take
main
it from the drivetrain, and
this and
like
that.
all kinds of problems will start.
Because you could lift the engine, put a new oil pan on it, and then 3 weeks later, the rear main seal goes in, and you lift the engine again. So,
Well, you got to take the transmission off the engine to lift it anyway. So
so it's,
Yeah, you're gonna be doing the whole transmission.
so you
too,
gotta,
so.
it's just that's where you're at. It's just tough to justify spending the money.
Do we know, is that the original plow on there? Or was that added?
To the best of my knowledge, that's the original plow that came on it. Our mechanic welded some pretty heavy plates on it 2 years ago, added another one last year, and again this year. And I know it was described to me as about a baseball size hole in the top left corner of the blade today. So, or over the weekend.
The only request I have for this one is if the new truck, if you get a stainless blade
We would,
as opposed to a
Yeah.
yellow blade.
yeah, given the cost difference, at least we've seen.
It's like a
Yeah.
$400 difference.
Just makes
Yeah,
sense.
exactly. It doesn't make sense to stay with a steel blade. So
That way you won't have this problem in 15 years.
wasn't an option back then.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they didn't have them
Yeah,
back then.
so that's kind of where we're at, and just like,
That's a good
I think
price,
just to Troy's point, as we're going forward, we're looking at what may be available for 2018s in order to get a better price versus 2019s and so forth. So,
Is that a state bid from MHQ?
yes, I believe it's a mass bid, but yes,
Yeah.
but it's still a bid. It's through a bid process.
Yep.
So.
Now, just one more question for you, Chief. Fit up, like for lights and stuff like that. Any ballpark figure with that?
Well, I really hadn't got to that point. So
So this is the person coming back. And this is just basically.
I think if the board is supportive, we'll continue to move forward. If
Okay.
not, then
We would move forward, get the best pricing we can, commit until we get
To the end of the year.
balance. of the
come back to you and
funds.
say, okay, this is what we got. We know what we got for surplus funds.
You looking just to get rid of it? Are you trading that in? Keeping it? You know?
We've had that discussion. The only thing we could possibly do with it, we think, is send it to state auction. And to be honest with you, it probably has more value staying with the town, not really doing any real repairs to it, and using it
Till it
as
does.
a utility vehicle for for the solid waste and highway operations. You might get a couple more years out of it. Doesn't leave town, and you just don't do any repairs that are not going to make sense.
I don't know.
What's that?
I say cut bait, let it
Yeah,
go.
yeah, especially with the oil pan. Depends on how bad
It
the oil
could be a
pan.
good vehicle in the summertime, when we have our summer help that are just trying to transport
Yeah.
mowers, trimmers, just pick up some brush. I don't know. It's just for the $1,000 you're going to get at state auction. If we can get a
Better
couple
off we
years
get
out of
another
it,
year out of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
Why
Then
not?
scrap it. We'll get $500 for scrap, right?
you would.
I don't know. That's
Do they
I
pay
don't
for
think you're
rust?
getting even that much in this current economy.
Is there any metal on it, or is it all rust now? That's the question.
Well,
Well, talk
and
to
that's, I
us.
mean,
Yeah.
it looks that, the bed that we put on it 5 years ago
two
was
colors
still
of
in
red.
decent shape.
Yeah, yeah.
But, to buy it'll cost us more to buy a cab chassis and
Nah, yeah. No,
redo the bed, and we're really not gaining a whole lot. I mean, we're looking for a standard pickup, just pickup hose utilized for training and so forth, and that type of thing. So there's really no need to repurpose the bed. And the cost to do so would be more than just buying a conventional pickup truck.
I mean, truthfully, this is great pricing. I mean, I buy trucks all the time.
I just said that to,
Yeah,
to
this
Ben.
is,
Yeah, I think it's a great
this
price.
is a
personally.
good deal. Let's move forward, I guess. And
Gentlemen, you want to do it by consensus and take a final vote when they get or do you want to take a vote now? And
No, I would just do consent. We don't know what the full price is going to be.
yeah, let's
So,
figure out
Right.
what
and
it'll
we
be.
really have to figure out what we're going to have left at the end of the year. So,
Right. So,
but I would
okay,
say
so
Move
consensus.
forward, yeah.
Move forward.
That's all I have.
Thank you.
concept makes sense. Chief, what's the moving date for the fire department? Do we know yet?
Sheetrock
Oh.
this week,
It's starting this week.
starting Wednesday.
Can you
Okay.
take a look at that? And then,
That would just be quick.
they need something else, and if you need something from me, let me know. And-
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Good evening.
Okay. It is now 6:30. I will open the floor for public comment. Anyone in the audience would like to make public comment, you're welcome to come up now.
I didn't hear that.
Okay, hearing none?
I didn't see it.
No, he's
He's
observing the meeting tonight.
Joe Cabral. He just left, so this was one of them was aimed right at him. I noticed the command vehicle. There is no lettering on it at all now. It was all removed. Is there a reason for that? Because
Just-
the command vehicle usually keeps all that.
It just recently came out of the body shop. So it had a bunch of auto body repairs to it. And then I'm assuming he's going to be scheduling the lettering.
He's going to go back on. I hope.
I would assume so.
Just the other question is, I know, he drives it back and forth to home. We have Kevin's old.
He doesn't take it home.
Yeah, it does.
In any event, do you have
No,
a
okay.
comment?
No,
Do you have a
it's a
comment?
comment. And why can't he take the other one, the command vehicle, stay on premises?
This is,
No, I'm
let
just
them
asking a
manage
question.
their departments.
Yeah, I'm just saying that it's a command vehicle. And to me, if a fire breaks out, that's used at a fire, right? So why doesn't it stay here? That's all I'm asking.
It does stay here.
Okay.
It's probably with the on-call officer if you're not seeing it parked.
Right. The officer in town that is on call takes that vehicle and uses it on call.
Because I've gone by the firehouse over
Correct.
the
And
weekend.
it's not that they have it at their home because they're in town. They respond from their home,
So the on-call officer takes it.
Okay,
takes the car.
all right.
Okay.
That was all, I'm hoping the lettering goes back on it because, it seems like it's weird. It's off,
Yeah.
The other thing was, you probably saw it anyways, in the paper. I was a little upset with that. It seems like, I was here at all the meetings when it went back and forth with you taking it and him taking it, the contract thing. It just seems like we had a system that worked good with the road agent doing it all these years. Now we take it and we move it back and forth. That's why the mess we got in,
What are we talking about?
the snow contracts.
Snow removal has always been by contractors.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but the road agent always handled it.
Mhm.
And then it went to Troy, then back.
He-
to
he's-
Jack.
Just so that you know, the situation has been taken care of
All right,
and he is asking for some help and we gave him the help.
all right.
And he is satisfied that the help we gave him, the last storm, everything worked perfectly or,
Yeah.
very well. And we were able to offer him additional resources to help him do his job. And he was happy with it. And everything worked out fine. That's why we went and thanked everyone that was responsible for helping to change the situation out. He was very happy that we helped him with additional resources that he needed.
Okay, so you did get other contractors?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Thank God.
Yes, we helped him get several the night before the last storm.
Okay. But they signed on permanently or they just?
If they're needed again, they will be, he has that responsibility
Oh, okay.
to bring them in again.
It just seemed right, that if they signed on, great. If they don't, they're only.
No, this will be this is his.
Right, okay. So it's back on his shoulder. Okay. Now I heard a rumor, don't know if it's true or not, but it seemed like the fire department spent like a big amount of money on a refrigerator. Okay. I'm only going by a rumor we've heard.
So I can
It was a $1,700 refrigerator.
So the refrigerator died in the station.
Okay.
They pre-bought the one for the new fire station. So the
Okay.
one that they purchased is going into the new fire station, which was budgeted in the new fire station.
Did they need to spend that kind of money? I don't
It's
think.
in the new fire
It's
station.
in the new fire station, part of the entire package.
You mean we're supplying chairs and everything to that thing?
Absolutely, you have to furnish it.
What's wrong with the stuff they got down there?
Oh,
I'm just saying.
Have you been in the fire station?
Yeah, if
Huh?
you have,
Have
take a
you
look
been
at,
there?
What?
In the fire station?
What?
Our current fire station.
I haven't been over there.
Okay, if you go in there, you will see that the new station needs new chairs.
Yeah, well, you can't go in there during construction anyways.
no,
No,
I'm
No,
talking about
the
the old
old
fire
fire
station.
No, the old one. I haven't been in there.
Yeah, so
Right.
so
And
the stuff that's in the old fire station, I can assure you is,
All right.
you know, it's
Well,
seen its
okay,
time.
firing's that, but I mean, they couldn't bring the refrigerator down a little bit. You know, I mean, Jesus, to spend money like,
okay, this is all part of,
okay, I know it's part of it. I'm just
Construction
saying, wouldn't they think to bring it down a little bit to save the people money? That's all I'm saying.
okay, thank
Okay,
you.
I'm not beating you up over it. I'm just saying it would be nice to be considerate to the tax people, you know. I know half the people in this town won't spend $1,700 on a refrigerator. I wouldn't, that's all.
Oh, that's what they cost now.
Oh, they most certainly.
They most certainly do.
I can tell you.
The last one I put in my house was
$8.
$1,860.
And you got the Cadillac. I did so.
Okay, do you have
That's
anything
it.
else, John?
That's it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Coming in. And are you Nathaniel's? No? Yeah, well, welcome.
We switched off.
Okay, Nathaniel helped us with the Pledge of Allegiance tonight. We appreciate that. So.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. Always great to have young people observe government. Okay, I will close public input at 6:37. On to the next item of administrative report. Troy, do you have anything?
No, it's just this is the time of the year that you know, be working to clean up the last pieces of the budget, working on default budget, getting word out this week to all departments about year-end closing our accounts and flushing out any requests for encumbrances. And working with legal counsel, making sure we, you know, have our warrant articles reviewed. We have legal counsel scheduled for deliberative session. So that's the kind of stuff you do, you know, between now and Christmas. So you know, some of you may be kind of wondering when we're going to start looking at the year-end financials, encumbrances, and just wrapping things up. So my plan is those things will be on your agenda at your next meeting. And we do need, you can probably address it at the next meeting, but I believe Christmas Eve is on our
Monday.
on our last day, so we may have to meet.
We can't be here.
We can be.
You can be if you want, but you're going to be alone.
I won't make you.
Apparently.
So, you know, I don't know if we want to look at that now or.
Well, why don't we put the 17th
Next-
on if we need it?
Yeah.
How's that? But we'll definitely do the 10th.
So you just need to, you know, keep in mind the 17th most likely will, if we need it.
If we need it, well, okay. Okay, thank you. Selectmen reports. Mr. Schaefer, we'll start with you too.
Well, I mean, as you know, we had a moment of silence for John Bryant, who
Wow,
was
that was awful. Huh?
our recreation chairperson. He passed away this weekend. So that's, you know, maybe we'll have a meeting tomorrow night. I'm not sure what the will of the board will be, but we're going to, you know, be dealing with his loss, and he definitely did a lot for the Recreation Commission, a lot for the town, and it's I feel bad. That's all.
I understand the wake is going to be Thursday from 4 to 7 at Peabody in Londonderry.
Permanent.
Okay, Mr. Bork? Do you- I just have, Mr. Brunel and I have been with Mr. Brown conducting negotiations over the past several months with the police department. We have reached a tentative agreement, which we will be discussing in non-meeting after. I will be covering Mr. Brunel Thursday night at the Budget Committee, and also the new Heritage Commission, the first meeting, I'll be attending that. That'll be December 11th for their first meeting. Mr. Brunel?
Nothing to report since the last time. No budget, but first budget meeting is this week since the
Okay.
break.
Mr. Weber?
The last planning board meeting, we gave a home business approval to Cakewalk Cakes. So Lauren Sampson's going to be running cake decorating out of her house. We also had Mel's Funway LLC in front of us for site consolidation, lot line adjustments, site plan review. Based on that, we thought it would be prudent to do a walkthrough, which we did last Saturday. They'll be back in front of us on December 17th, 18th.
Thank you. Okay. There are no items removed for consent. Is there any other business to come before this body before we go into non-public session? Okay. Just for your benefit, we will going to be adjourning into what they call non-public. We will close the meeting, and then everybody else has to leave but us. And well, thank you again. We appreciate it. Nathaniel, nice to meet you. Come back anytime. I will entertain a motion to go into non-public session under RSA 91A:32C.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bork.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Schaefer. On a roll call vote, Mr. Weber.
Yes.
Mr. Brunel.
Yes.
I vote yes. Mr. Bork.
Yes.
And Mr. Schaefer.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0-0. We are now in non-public session at 6.